Hi, this is Julie Hutchinson, founder and CEO of Core Performance. I'm here today to talk about a very hot topic that's very relevant for our times, which is the 5 strategies to create psychological safety in the workplace. And it's really important that we're talking about this today because in these uncertain times with the pandemic, we've really had our economic security, daily conditions, physical safety, all have been compromised in one way or another as we all face this pandemic. And as we return to work, we may be really feeling the physical safety of being in a close proximity with some of our coworkers. And so as a result, we can really experience some undercurrent of emotional turmoil. And what I mean by undercurrent of emotional turmoil, meaning that if we have an undercurrent of fear coming back to the office or stress or anxiety, but we're not fully expressing that, it's an undercurrent that's running underneath, it can lead to a loss of emotional intelligence. And we know that emotional intelligence is one of the top 10 leadership skills. And so when we talk about an emotional undercurrent that's not being addressed or a shared fear that other people are feeling in close proximity, this can also be a drain on emotional intelligence. So if you have a lot of workers coming back and they're all having this underlying fear of uncertainty, anxiety, or stress, and they're in close proximity, it's a shared fear. And this can lead to a collective shared fear within the organization, not just the individuals, but as groups. So whether a fear is perceived or imagined, it can wreak havoc on our emotional state. And what I mean by this is when we are feeling depleting emotions such as fear, worry, or anxiety, it releases specific hormones in our body. And you might know what the stress hormone is called, cortisol. It also activates the adrenal glands. So when we're feeling that, whether perceived or imagined, it's actually activating these hormones in the body. It changes literally how the brain operates. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that you can actually see some slides. So in sharing this might give you a little bit more of an example of what we're looking at when we're in fear, certainty, or worry. It's going to change how the brain operates. This moves us into what we call fight or flight. As we're moving into fight or flight, here is a modern day version of fight. When the body is activated in this state, we can fight by arguing, causing drama, sabotaging, maybe sabotaging projects or sabotaging a particular person at work. You might find that people can get aggressive. You may see this in your workplace. Another thing that we look at is in fight or flight, typically people experience one more so than the other. For you, you might ask, when I get stressed, do I tend to fight and argue and dramatize and sabotage, be aggressive, or do I flight? Where some people, I know mine's more flight, I disengage, I have emotional disconnection, and I have separation for that desire to feel safe. And so if you see this happening in your workplace, you may be aware that as that's happening, that could be some emotional undercurrents that are taking place in the workplace if you're seeing some of these actions happening. So here are some steps to take in order to really help to increase psychological safety in the workplace. Number one, approach clashes as a collaborator, not an antagonist. And what I mean by that is typically when somebody is clashing with another person, they want to be defensive. They want to fight back. It's human nature. So instead, if we can find the win-win and look at as a collaborator, instead of being more dramatizing or aggressive, that's a key. So you may be asking yourself, if somebody is in a clash with you, how do I find a win-win? One of the ways to do that is to ask more questions. By asking more questions, It could be questions like, how can we achieve a mutually desirable outcome? Just by asking that question changes how the brain works. So when it changes how the brain works, we start to look for the solutions, not focusing on the problems. The second one to help create psychological safety is what we call coherent listening. And what I mean by coherent listening is when your body is coherent, when it's not in that state of fight or flight, you're coherent. You can listen not just to the words that people are saying, because words are only 7%. You want to listen to their tone and you want to listen to their body language, because you get so much more in tone and body language. And when you do that, you listen from a place of curiosity and understanding, from curiosity and understanding. And the way to do that is to ask more questions. The other thing too is if you're in a situation where there is a clash, or maybe after the fact, maybe you're in a clash in a meeting and you're able to maintain harmony and balance in a meeting, but then you leave that meeting and you start to ruminate about what happened, and you ruminate about that person. Here is a really great tip. One of my favorite things that I love to do that will literally shift me into a more coherent state. And that is to list 3 things I appreciate about the situation or about the person. So you can do that right now. If there is somebody in your life that you have a clash with, list 3 things that you appreciate about that person or about the situation. I know for some of you might be going, man, that's really hard. There's always something you can find. Maybe that person is giving you information to help you dig deeper on a project, or you can appreciate that person for helping you to build your negotiation skills, or you can appreciate that person by the prep work that they did before the meeting. You can find something to appreciate about the person or the situation. And as you're doing that, watch how you start to change as you list 3 things. Watch how you can literally shift your body and your physiology when you shift into gratitude or appreciation. And number 3, replace blame with inquiry, right? Blame escalates conflict. When we blame somebody for something, it's going to escalate the conflict, because naturally we like to fight back. And when we fight back, it was going to escalate that conflict. So come from a learning mindset. And what we mean by a learning mindset is that you state what you heard. This is what I heard you say. Then you begin to engage and connect with that person. As you're engaging and connecting with that person, then you begin to ask more questions. I like to call this double clicking. So when you double click, can you tell me more about this? It's like you're double clicking on a website to get more information. Tell me why you feel that way. Why is that important to you? As we ask more questions and we inquire, we can get better clarity and more specifics about a particular situation. And then next is activate heart qualities. And you might be asking, well, what does that mean? Well, you think about our head is where logic is. It's where our reasoning happens. We're very logical. Our heart is where we have compassion. When we have compassion for other people, that's coming from our heart, and people can actually feel that. You can feel it when you activate your heart qualities, the caring that you might feel for somebody. That compassion and caring will lead to connection. When you have that connection with people, they can genuinely sense that you care. And there's a really fun exercise that you can do. And that exercise is just like me. And it's a lengthier exercise. If you would like a copy of it, send me a private message. I'll send you a copy of it, but it goes something like this. Just like me, this person is trying to figure out life. Just like me, this person is trying to reduce their stress and anxiety. Just like me, this person is figuring out ways to solve this problem. So again, it's a longer one-page exercise that you go through, but you start to have compassion when you realize that other people are just like you. But when we blame or we want to dramatize in a situation, we cut off that connection. And the key is to realize that other people are just like us. And number 5, ask for feedback on your delivery, meaning that as leaders and executives, sometimes we want to just come in with knowing it all and being great with all the answers. But when we really ask for feedback and say, what worked for you, what didn't work for you in my delivery? How did you feel when I shared that message? Or how could I have presented it more effectively? When you ask questions like this, you increase trust. And then your colleagues can realize, just like them, you would like feedback. Just like them, you would like to connect. It builds that collaboration. It builds that connection, that true connection with other people. And that's key, is having that true connection. And so these are the 5 steps to help create psychological safety in your workplace. If you would like more information on this, please reach out to me. We have a specific thing that we do called Activating the Heart of Teams, where we literally create a culture where teams can thrive, and we activate heart qualities. These are some of the things that we talk about. So if you guys are having some challenges with your teams, if you're like not harmonizing and there's a lot of discord, we teach you how to move from discord to harmony. We teach you how to access the collective intelligence of the group. We teach you how to raise the energy in a room. So as you're looking at this, if there's anything that I can do to help you increase psychological safety, please feel free to reach out to me. Here's our website and my contact information. And thank you very much for listening. I look forward to supporting you. And again, if there's anything else that I can do to help you understand psychological safety or give you additional tips, please let me know. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.